So thank you so much all for joining me for this lecture. I'm not going to wait further because if anyone wishes to join, they can join between the lecture as well. So we are going to start this, and before starting, I would like to tell you all that this topic is very important, not from the point of view of a paper 2, but paper 1 on 1 as well. Okay, because from now onwards, basically we are going to start with research, basic research, then types of research we shall understand, then after that data collection, and after that the classification of data techniques. We shall do about types of research which has not been assigned today, and after that we shall go with the research designs as well. Each and every topic which I have named now, this is not only for paper 2 but for paper 1 as well, because if you see previous paper for paper 1 or paper 2, from types of research, number of times the questions has been asked. So this is very important topic, but today it will not be touched upon. Today we shall do some basics, like how the data is collected, how the data is classified, okay, and further how the things are done. And this was also there when we had to do for central tendency. You would have experienced that when we gave you the notes for central tendency, there were contained some topics regarding data collection and classification as well. So we had assigned that topic this day, so this is why I'm going to pursue with that. So now I'm just going to show you what we have made. So as usual, before going on, I would like to take confirmation of you if everything is fine from my side. Can you all hear me clearly? Is my voice audible? Is my voice clearly audible to you? Okay, thank you so much. I have got the confirmation from everyone, and all the students left, they can join between the lecture as well. So I'm going to show you what we have prepared for you in this lecture. So this is about the data collection and classification method. Okay, data collection and classification method. This is very much interrelated with the topics of paper 1 as well. I have already told you. And main thing, this is that we have already studied concept of a central tendency. Central tendency. And if you remember, in the very starting lecture, I taught you about data series. About data series. If you understand about data series, I taught you about individual series, then I taught you about discrete series, then I taught you about a continuous series. Okay. And in all the series, I told you that in a series there is a variable. It can be named anything. It can be height, weight, marks, or anything, and it has some data points. Okay, data point. These are known as x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. That can have any value. Like if we are talking about marks, it can be 30, 35, 36, then 25, then 27, or anything. It can be like that. How this data is collected, this is today's topic. Okay, if you have made the series, doesn't matter what type of series, whether this is individual or a discrete series, okay, or frequency distribution series, doesn't matter. But how, for making the data points and making their graphs, where the data points are collected from, this is today's topic. Okay, and how these data points are classified, this is also today's topic. So we shall pursue with that, and in the next lecture we shall talk about the types of researches. So first of all, we have to understand about these. So first of all, data types are there. There are only two types of data from a researcher's point of view, research point of view. Okay, the first one is primary, the second one is secondary. Although this topic is very easy to understand, very easy to comprehend, but still I wish to taught you. Okay, because maybe I talk about some words which you are not aware of, so that's why you have to listen to me. So primary data is there, then secondary data is there. Okay, Giving you very simple example because all of this slide is completely blank. Okay, so if I'm doing a historical research, suppose I'm a student of history, suppose, or you are the student of history, you are going to conduct the research on to find history of a specific place. What you shall do, first of all, you shall go to that place. Okay, then you shall try to find from the different stones. This is the researcher what actually do, find from stones or excavations or these kind of things are there. Okay, so they shall try to make a conclusion, they shall try to decode from the stones, from the excavations. Okay, they shall try to decode what they can mean it to real world. They shall try to decode what is written in the stones. Okay, so in this way historical researches are done. Okay, so what are their sources? Their sources are completely primary. You have to go personally to the places. You have to go personally to the places. Okay, only then you shall be able to get the raw material data or a raw data. Okay, so this is called primary data. Primary data is basically a data which has never been used before. So this is a primary data, and this is also known as first hand data. First hand data. And giving you second example as well, if I want to make analysis, if I have to make analysis for past 20 years for our Indian financial market. Okay, Indian financial market. Suppose I want to make the analysis of National Stock Exchange NSE Nifty 50 prices for past 20 years. Then I do not have to go anywhere for finding the data. I shall just open the website of NSE and I shall download the data for past 20 years. Okay. So this kind of data is known as a secondary data. The data which someone can provide you. Okay. So differences data for primary data, no one can provide you. No one can provide. You have to make your own efforts for primary data. And secondary data, this is free data. You can get it from different website, from different journals, newspaper, anything else. So this is, I think you would have understood the meaning of these two kinds of data. So primary data are the original information. So these are those details which are directly and completely related with the problem on hand. These are original information and are treated as basic input. Okay, these are basic input for any kind of research, and this is also known as raw data. Then the second one is secondary data. These are readily available, already available. Somebody has already used it for a number of times. They can be used directly without processing or analysis. They are not raw data. These are final data. The data points which the Nifty or NSE shall provide to me, this will be the final data. So this is known as a secondary data. These data are those details which have been collected other than the specific research purpose. Okay, so these were the two kinds or types of data we had to understand. Now we shall talk about the different data collection methods. Okay, again, this is left blank. If need be there, I shall give you some examples. Otherwise, everything is that much easy. One or two reading would suffice to go through. The first is survey or questionnaire method. This is the first kind of type of collection of data. You would have observed that some people are there who are doing survey, who are holding questionnaires in hand. Questionnaire simply means the printed papers of 5 or 6 pages. These are printed paper. In these printed papers, some questions are written. Like, do you like a specific brand? How much do you like this brand? Do your family also like? are you already possessing this brand? These kind of questions are written there, and you have to tick on whether you possess or not possess, whether you like or not like. This kind of questionnaire the people are holding in their hands. Okay, so this is known as survey method. Each and everyone in India would have observed whether he is educated or not. That surveys are being conducted everywhere. Okay, so this is also said as communication method. Data are collected by communicating with the respondents. Okay, who is the respondent? From whom the questionnaire is being filled up. Okay, I'm a researcher. If I am giving you my questionnaire means printed pages for 5 or a printed material or of 5 or 6 pages. If I'm showing you that, and if I'm asking you to fill this questionnaire for me, then you will be my respondent. You will be said to my respondent. There are two parties only in this method. First is a researcher, second is a respondent. A researcher is the person who offers the questionnaire, and respondent is the person who fills it. So how do they meet? They meet either by face-to-face, oral communication, or by other means they can meet, like telephone, emails, etc. So it is fit for any kind of research problem. This is survey method. Survey method has some types, okay? So survey method or questionnaire method again has some types. It includes interview, that can be direct interview, it can be telephonic interview, it can be mail survey. We can take our example as well. I am a researcher, okay, you are my respondent. I have to ask you some question. Either I can meet you personally, or I can interview you, or I can call you, or I can take your telephonic interview, or lastly, I can email you my questionnaire. You shall fill that questionnaire and you shall reply me in email as well. Okay, so this is how the surveys or the questionnaire method is done. We have to study about individual method as well. So interview is basically a face-to-face interaction with the respondent. So these are personal interviews, and this is the method of a collection of data personally by contacting with the respondent. Like I can contact with you. This is a face-to-face communication, and free feedbacks are possible. Immediately you can ask me some questions about my questionnaire or a research. So this is the first method under survey or questionnaire method. The second one is telephonic interview. If it's not possible for me to meet personally to you, what I can do is I can simply call you and I can ask you that you have to do something for me. You have to do me a favor. This is that I am going to send you a questionnaire, and you have to fill this questionnaire for me because this is for my research purpose. So that will be known as telephonic interview. Nowadays, telephone surveys can easily be conducted due to widespread telephone facilities provided by telephone department. Okay, so these are very easy to interact with the respondent online. The last is mail survey. A very simple thing is either you can send a letter by post, or you can simply email to your respondent all the questionnaire. If you are sending by post, he can reply you by post, and if you are sending in him an email, then he shall reply you in email as well. So in this method, data are collected by mail or letter. Simply, a well-designed printed copy of a questionnaire is sent to known and unknown respondents with the request to return it back duly filled. So you can request them that you have to send me back all the questionnaire after filling this. So what I taught you, we can recall it in a very simple way. So we studied about data collection method. We are doing only first method. This method is survey method or questionnaire method. In survey method, we studied 3 different types. First is interview, the second is telephonic interview, third is mail survey. Now we have to move to the second method of collection of data. This is observation method, somewhat tricky observation method. Okay, in which what you do, you don't ask questionnaire, or you don't prepare any kind of a questionnaire to be filled by your respondent. You simply observe their behavior. You simply observe them, what they are doing. They are going to malls. What is their purchasing behavior? You are just following them knowingly or unknowingly. You can tell them that we are following you to observe your purchasing behavior. So this is observation method. Okay, observation method. I tell you what is this. This method has the characteristics that this method is that no questions are asked to the respondent for collecting data, but their behavior is observed minutely. Okay. Under this method, a researcher can observe, measure, note the original behavior of respondent, mostly consumers and dealer. These kind of data collection techniques are used to solve the consumer behavior problems. Okay. Study of CB or consumer behavior or dealers with whom you have to deal for your business. You have to understand their purchasing or their selling behavior. And this can be done not by asking question to them, because they are not going to reveal all their strategies. What you have to do, you have to observe them. You have to observe their behavior. So this is the second technique. Maybe there are some other techniques under observation behavior. We see what these are. Yes, there are types of observations as well. The first are structured. Okay, then second are unstructured observations. Structured means when you have everything plan out. When you have already planned out when to go, where to go, whom to follow, okay, why to follow, okay, what to observe, all these questions. When these questions are pre-planned, this kind of system is known as a structured observation. Okay, it involves a detailed plan regarding what, when to observe. Very simple. And what about unstructured? When you have no plan, but you are just observing and you have no plan about all these questions. Okay, sometimes the observer watches and note the behavior without any specific scheme or plan. This is known as unstructured observation. Then the second are lives or a recorded observation. Okay, so in the case of live, you follow personally to the respondent. But in case of a recording, you can ask someone else or you can ask somebody to record the behavior. Okay, in case of live observation, ongoing or live behavior activities are observed. And the recorded observation consists of observing the recorded or past behavior of relevant respondent. Like you can ask to the owner of the mall shop that what was purchased by a specific respondent. Okay, so that can be considered to be the recorded observation. So this is a live versus recorded observation. Then there is a direct versus indirect observation. Direct means when you are observing the respondent directly. Okay, directly means you are following them with a very minor difference. Okay, you are observing them by following them. But in case of indirect observation, this is done as a distanced observation. You never let the respondent know that you are following them. You are recording their behavior. Okay, number of times these things are done. You know, let me tell you one thing, you will be very surprised to see that. We know about the Article 15 of the Constitution, 15 to 19. And they talk, especially 19, that talk about privacy or privacy. Okay, this talk about this, that everything which is personal to you, no one can take it from you. Okay, but you know what happens? What you speak, even your voice is getting recorded somewhere. Do you know that number of people would not know? This is also being recorded somewhere. Your purchasing behaviors are directly or indirectly being recorded somewhere. You are thinking to purchase some new camera, suppose. Okay, some new camera. Okay, you have searched it for just once in Google, for just once. and that search is for only 10 to 20 seconds. Suppose this is that, okay. You would observe that everywhere in your Facebook, in your Instagram, in your YouTube, you shall start receiving the suggestions of which camera to purchase. How the people know that? They are following you. Each and every company is following you, and the major company which is following you is Google. Okay, they don't let you know that they are following you. Even your voice is being recorded, they can recognize you easily. You don't know. This is being done now. Number of cases are still pending. Now we don't talk further about these. We can talk if we are in that kind of discussions later. So these were the things about direct or indirect, where you can let the people, the person know that you are following, but in case of indirect, you never let them know. Then natural and contrived. Natural, when you take the observation in a natural or original settings. Original settings. So you, in the original mall, the respondent is going and you are recording their purchasing behavior. But in case you have created the artificial environment, okay, like you have already pre-planned or contrived with the shop owners, you have already made the behavior for or the environment for the purchaser. You have already in connivance with all the shop owners that you have to record purchasers behavior. This kind of observation is contrived observation. So natural, which is taken natural settings without any connivance with anyone. In case of a contrived, you create artificial environment in which the purchaser behaves and you record their behavior. Okay, then this is human and mechanical observation. So this is human observation when a human follows other human. Okay, but when you use the technology for observing the behavior of any respondent, this is known as mechanical observation. Okay, so human observation involves human being. Human organism is recognizing and noting human respondents' behavior. On the contrary, mechanical observation involves certain mechanical electronical devices such as movie camera, automatic recording, closed circuit camera, robot, or anything. If the technology is being used, this is known as mechanical observation. So the next one is disguised and undisguised. We can, so you can simply skip it because this is very similar with what we have done here. Okay, so if you are letting your person know that you are following them, this is undisguised observation. And if you are not letting them know that you are following them, this is disguised observation. So disguised observation is one in which target people do not know that they are being observed. Okay, so this is very simple. Sometimes the respondents are already informed that they are being followed. This is undisguised observation. So this is about all we have to study about observation method. I'm again recalling you everything about observation method. This is then that when you observe the behavior of the respondent, rather than asking them specific questions written in the questionnaire, this kind of method is known as observation method. So it has some types like structured, unstructured, then live or recorded. After that, there is a direct or indirect. Then natural, in natural settings, natural environment or self-made environment, this is contrived observation. Then human, when human follows human only, and behavior is noted in a notebook. Then if you use mechanical devices, this is mechanical observation. Then disguised, when you don't let the respondent know. In case of undisguised, you let the respondent know that you are following them. Then there are experimental method. These are also known as very important, and these are cause and effect relation is established in these methods. Okay, so this is also method of data collection. This will be the part of research designs as well. What happens here in this independent variables, which this is basically done on a secondary data. secondary data. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes even the secondary data can be in a raw format. Okay, like again, I am taking the example of Nifty 50 data. Okay, if I have taken the series for past 20 years, but still I have to convert this to natural logarithm. Natural logarithm. Okay, I have to convert this series to natural logarithm for finding the actual returns. Okay, so that kind of system is will be known to be experimental method. Okay, in which independent variables are manipulated to measure the effect on such manipulation on dependent variable. So that can be the simple example of that. Okay, because sometimes all the data can be the raw data that is not used for a direct research for your purpose, then you have to convert this by using experimental methods. So this was the third method. This is also included in the data collection. So these are the third we have gone through. So the last one is, I think this is a panel method. This is also known as hybrid method, and this is the last and final method, in which what happens, a panel sits and they try to collect the data from different sources by different methods. Okay, all aforesaid methods are used to collect data from the panel. Panel can be defined as a fixed, relatively permanent sample of group of respondents to obtain information continuously intermittently basis. So in this method, data are collected only from panels of response group or respondents. Okay, so they can use, so that group can not only be for a respondent but for the researchers as well, for brainstorming purpose as well, or for some group of students as well. Panel can be for anyone. Okay, if they are applying all the methods, all the previous studied method for finding and collecting the data, that system will be known as the collection source, data collection source by panel method. Okay, so in this way, I hope we would have gotten. We again have to recall each and everything we have studied in this lecture. This is, I have taught you about data types. These are raw data and secondary data. Rigid raw data is primary data. Then secondary data is there, which has already been published somewhere, and which the researchers are using, which is a second-hand data. For a data collection method, basically we studied 4 methods. First was survey, then observation, then experimental, then panel method. Under survey, we studied about interview, then telephonic interview, then mail surveys. And under observations, we studied about structured, unstructured, live, recorded, direct, indirect, natural, contrived, human, mechanical, disguised, undisguised. Experimental, we studied in which independent variables are manipulated. And finally, we studied about panel method, which was hybrid and the combined method for all the methods. So in this way, we have to understand all these things. And the next part of this shall be the types of teaching, which is same for paper 1 and paper 2 as well. And after that, we shall go for a research design as well. And that has been assigned the day of Monday. So in this way, we have taken this lecture, and I hope you shall be having continuity. All the students who are doing the job, who are not able to attend the regular live lecture, they are requested to complete whatever is left for in the weekends. Okay, so you have to be very regular, and you shall be receiving some calls in case of any trouble for accessing the test series. Just let me know in a message box. If the issue is resolved, then that's fine. Otherwise, we shall be making a separate video for that, of how to access and how to submit the test series. Thank you so much. This is Gurpal Singh from Gurpal Education.